What is going on, you two people? Neo Cards and Comics here. Remember Beckett? They still exist. BGS grading. Who knew? We haven't had a Beckett update in, I don't know, forever. But they posted a little something something on social today that made its rounds. And when I say today, I am recording this Tuesday afternoon, just as Rob Manfred is canceling regular season MLB games. So that's fun. But yeah, Beckett has given us a little bit of an update here. I'm a little perplexed. We'll get into it. So they talk about expansion and moving their offices in Dallas, where they're at, tripling their current size. But I don't know that this is necessarily all grading. This is, broadly speaking, Beckett Collectibles as a whole is moving and expanding their footprint, which is good. In my opinion, a little too late at this point, at least on the grading side. Once again, for the main company side, the whole different story. And then here's the part that we care about down here. In addition, Beckett Grading Services expects customers' backlog to be completed by the end of May 2022. Interesting. Very soon, updates will be issued to customers, etc. And then it also states here, and then we'll kind of talk about some of this stuff. BGS will be reopening standard grading services to the public March 1st, 2022. So that is now. Quantities will be limited around on a first-come, first-served basis, so no customer events. Customers must use the online submission form, which is pain in the butt. The standard service level turnaround times for orders will be 30 to 45 days. Remember that part. 30 to 45 days. Okay. Right here, you can see a commenter say, that's interesting because I called and people I talked to on the phone at Beckett said 6 to 9 months is the turnaround time for standard service. And when you come over to here, to Beckett's actual website, Beckett.com, estimated turnaround times, standard submission service, 6 to 9 months. That's a big difference than 30 to 45 business days. Now, maybe someone just forgot to update the website. Maybe someone forgot to send a little memo down to the people that answer the phones to let them know that, hey, it's actually 35 to 45 days now. I don't know. Maybe this is what they're looking at once they clear the backlog at the end of May, but that is clearly not March 1st. I don't know. I do see on blowout forums, people are still waiting for orders from 2020 for bulk orders. So I don't really know what's going on. We'll see what happens, I guess, when we get to the end of May. The problem is, as we've talked about a lot on the channel, what is, and I am very curious for your comments down below, what is BGS's relevancy in the current grading landscape? Does anyone still really, I don't want to say care about them, but of this whole hobby boom, of the major players that were already in existence when it started to today, in my opinion, they have lost the most brand loyalty / customer faith, whatever you want to call it. They lost a ton of ground to PSA, because back in the day, a BGS 9.5 and a PSA 10 sold for very close to each other. That is no longer the case. And a BGS 9.5, true gem or better, would typically outsell an SGC 10. That is not always the case now. In some cases they do, in some cases they don't. But regardless, SGC has ran down Beckett, and it is very much a close race for second place between those two. To me, and as we talk about on the channel all the time, ideally you should really be using all the grading companies, or at least all the main ones, PSA, BGS, and SGC. All of that, if you are, and this is, once again, I'm taking this, I always feel the need to explain myself on this one, grading to resale and or resale down the line at some point, not because it's your PC. I'm strictly talking to add monetary value to the card that is already in your possession to later sell that card. All three companies, PSA, BGS, and SGC, have a niche if you are grading to resale. They are tools in a toolbox, and you need to choose the correct tool for the correct job. To me, BGS is the most niche tool in the toolbox. It's the one that you don't actually own. You got to go to Lowe's or Home Depot and rent it for the special project, the one weekend a year that you got to crank something out. You don't own what a Sawzall, some weird little niche specialty tool to do some very special thing that'll make your life a little bit easier. You'll go use Beckett for something like that. If you just need to cut a door out, you get the Sawzall out. That's a PSA or an SGC or whatever. Beckett is a very niche tool for, I think they're actually probably pretty good to use for PMGs, any thicker style cards, RPAs, that sort of stuff. Older refractors, 90s stuff that you think you might be able to squeak out like a half a grade higher, a BGS 9.5 instead of a PSA 9, or a BGS 8 instead of a PSA 7 or whatever on some of the older stuff, where a BGS 8 is acceptable, or a BGS 9 even is fairly acceptable, like a PMG. That's kind of their niche market. Now, a lot of high-end cards live in Beckett slabs 100% because they were very popular in the early 2000s when all these, LeBron exquisite RPAs and LeBron Jordan dual autos and Curry autos and all this stuff were floating around. A lot of that stuff went to Beckett. So a lot of high-end cards are in Beckett slabs. But to me, they have lost the most market share and the most respect of the major 3 grading companies that have been around since this whole hobby boom kicked things off almost 2 years ago now. So where do they go from here? Like I said, I don't know of a card other than maybe a PMG that I would actively send there. Any mid-tier to upper end refractor level, silver prism, whatever type of card, I'm sending that to PSA. Anything mid to low end base or whatever, or a niche thing, stuff like that, as of right now, I'm probably going to SGC that. I'll let the math dictate it. As always, grading is a math equation. Plug the numbers in and see which one makes the most sense with an X factor of turnaround time. The other thing that I'm really skeptical about is the turnaround time on this. Beckett has been a disaster on turnaround times for 2 years now, and they're already giving us mixed messaging on this with 30 to 45 business days in this post, but their website and phone rep saying 6 to 9 months. So I don't know. Curious for your thoughts and comments down below. What would you send to Beckett? Are you excited to actively use Beckett? Have you used Beckett in the past and you've moved on? You're like, you know what? Nope, I'm completely done with them. I am a PSA SGC guy now, or whatever. But does Beckett still have a slot in your toolbox? Or is it kind of like, are you looking at Beckett like I am, where they are a very niche case and I am sending a very limited set of cards to them for grading? Because that's how I view Beckett. And I don't know, other than a PMG, for the stuff I'm actively working in right now, I don't know what I would send to them. Especially when you consider that this is $50 a card. $50 a card, I could send the PSA on an economy submission, get it back. PSA economy submission so far, we're just starting to get word they're running about 2 months. People that submitted that very first one right after Christmas, the week between Christmas and New Year, right around that time, are starting to get grades pop right now. So that's basically 2 months, which is a month faster than what they promised. So, and a PSA 10 is going to outsell a BGS 9.5 10 times. But that's our little update for Beckett. Very curious for your thoughts and opinions down below on the whole Beckett grading. I like buying Beckett slabs. I like going after cards already in BGS slabs. I just don't see much of a purpose to use them right now. So that's all I have for you guys and girls. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.